Yeah.
Reports. Mike, do you want to go ahead and give your report?
Is there any questions? I just put some data.
My question was, is that percentage of the building or percentage of the kids? They're fluent.
That would be percentage of the students in that class that are, and then I have the Wall Lake building separated out from the Saxon.
The percentage of students that are fluent. Okay, thank you.
I think the only concern of mine would be the CBM testing. That's a math. And we, during our professional development day-to-day, we analyzed a lot of data, and this keeps cropping up as a concern. So we'll be looking at this and addressing this. I don't know exactly what the issue is, but there are some issues there. So we'll be looking into that, or I'll be looking into that. As you can see, most of the data is increasing and looks good. We went through our ITBS information today, and the ITBS comprehension for the second grade and the vocabulary has been increasing the last 4 years at the Wall Lake Center, and has increased the last 2 years at the Sac Center. You don't have that in front of you, but that data looks very good. And the reason there's only 2 years for SAC is that's all we could find at that time that I was putting the information together. So we are making gains. Whatever the processes that we're doing now are making a difference, and we can see that. So it's encouraging. I mean, it was encouraging for the teachers, and it was very encouraging for me also. I'll get you some of that data too, probably on at the next board report on some of the totals of the ITBS.
Fluency being 41%, or what's fluency?
Fluency is words per minute. And how
What?
fluent you are.
Okay, I understand that, but what's 0% fluent?
That means we would have 0%. That would. Where are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking like at the CBM on the site.
That means in the first, during the fall testing period, we didn't have anybody score proficient at that time.
What's proficient?
In the CBM, they have a specific point system that they use, and they have a bottom number that they have, and we didn't have anybody that got to that. One thing that I can tell you about the SAC Center is this CBM testing was brand new to them. I mean, it was something that we did for the first time this year. Teachers were a little, I guess I'll take the blame, because teachers didn't have enough information about it, and I don't think our students had enough information about it. How to take it, what parts of it to do first, maybe overlook and do some other parts first. It's just general testing information about taking the CBM test.
And did you explain it? It's a math.
It's math,
It's
yes.
math computation. And students do addition facts, they do subtraction facts in a separate test, and then they do what's called a mixed math. So there's addition and subtraction. Or in the upper grades, they do multiplication for 2 minutes, division for 2 minutes, and then mixed math for 2 minutes. And it's a predictor of math success. Strength and just fluency in computation is a predictor of math success. And you count the digits correct that students do in a 2-minute period. And then to answer your question, Doug, then there's so many digits per 2 minutes that a second grader should be able to do in addition, and then in subtraction, and then in mixed math. And if you're significantly below that, then we know you need help with computation, with your math facts. Because students that are proficient in math typically are pretty rote with their math facts and can do them pretty accurately and pretty quickly. And so what Mike mentioned about giving it for the first time, may or may not be why they have zeros. But we now know that students have had some experience taking it. We give it 3 times a year, and there's a different benchmark for each time of the year, and that increases slightly throughout the year.
So, like in the upper grades, can you break that down into, if they're,
This is
Fluent.
only, this is only the mixed math part.
okay, it's,
We don't
You don't
score
break
the
it.
other parts.
okay, I was confused. I was talking addition and the test and a subtraction test.
They do take all 3,
But-
but the mixed math is.
But this is all this is a mixed math test.
Yeah.
Okay, I was confused.
We had a
I
lot, we
helped
had a
you.
lot of discussion today about this very test, about this, what the validity of it. Teachers were questioning, we had a lot of conversation about this, when the ITBS is only scoring the problem-solving part and in the totals, and are we testing what we should be testing? So we're gonna look into this. I mean, this is-
Actually, computation has been added to the ITED test again, because there was, at one point, a few years ago, computation was taken out of ITEDs at the high school, the 9th through 12th grade level, and there was so much complaint that students were not proficient in computation, and so many Iowa schools asked to have ITED reintroduce the computation test to the ITED exams, and it's back on there, and we give that at the high school level. Because one of the fundamentals is you've got to be able to fluently and accurately perform computation in math. And what happens with kids that have, sometimes what happens with students who don't understand math is they're working so hard at just trying to do the computation that the teacher's doing that they don't understand then the concept of regrouping if we're teaching that, or base 10, because they're still counting on their fingers trying to do computation. And it's really hard to do multiplication on your fingers, and division on your fingers, so,
Will we test this again in the spring?
yeah,
Okay.
3 times a year.
Right.
Yep.
What's IEP stand for?
Individual education plan, and those would be kids that are in special education.
So the special education kids are only figured under IEP, they're not included like with the regular class?
You'll have to ask Mike, I don't know about that.
Like that.
If there's a special education third grader, is it reflected in the third grade class, or is it just reflected in the IEP?
It would be reflected in both.
In both, okay.
Yeah. But they're broken out.
Some of these people in IEP, who have IEPs are read to, right? They tested read.
Depending on
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
Not
their,
the CVM, I mean,
Not
I'm
the
just
CV
talking about
not the
CVM.
math.
No.
but
Well, and they're not read the comprehension or the fluency test because they have a reading IEP, so, but they would be read as science or social studies test, for instance, on the ITED or ITBS.
But not on this set of sheet?
No.
Nothing was read to it?
No,
Okay.
no. If they have a math IEP, they're still expected to take this, and we score them with their grade level. Actually, all of our special education kids, except a couple, 2 or 3, level 3 kids, are in all of our testing, and they're in all of our data. That's federal law. So we have an alternative assessment for a couple, 3 kids in our entire district. Of our 950 kids, I think we have 3 alternative assessment students. Level 3 kids that can't read, can't write, probably can't speak very well because of their disability, but everybody else takes the test, whether it be ITED or ITBS, BRIs, CBMs, PATs, whatever it might be.
So you have it broken out, Mike, so that you know what the special education kids get, they can tell versus what the rest of the class gets or not.
what,
If it's included in the score, then you know whether we're taking care of the rest of the class. Can you tell?
you mean, could we break that apart and take that out of that? We could.
But you look at all students individually. I mean, you don't
Yeah,
just say
yeah.
second grade, you look at every
Yeah,
student
we
in
have
second
all,
grade.
we have data on every single student. In fact,
Okay.
we can go back and find out which question they missed, each one of them.